Hello, welcome back to the Bitcoin School podcast, where we are telling the stories of Bitcoin educators around the world. Today, I have a really special guest joining me live from Kenya, Nairobi, Kenya. I'm here with Felix, who is working with the core in Africa, also inspiring people in Afghanistan and Pakistan. So really excited to be with you, Felix. Thanks for joining me today.
Thanks for having me.
So first off, I would like to shine a little light on your Bitcoin origin story, how you first got involved in Bitcoin, and then what took you from not only being a Bitcoiner, but deciding that you wanted to become an educator as well, and tell your family and your neighbors and your friends about Bitcoin.
Yeah, so my story is a little bit funny because, like many other Bitcoiners, first of all, we get to understand or get to the whole crypto in general thing through scam projects, and that's exactly how it's introduced. So it was back in around 2021 when I was introduced to an Ethereum scam project known as for by a friend. So I was still in campus. I was trying to hustle as well in campus. So I had a shop somewhere in Nairobi as an employee where I could go maybe on off the days I'm not going to school. I could stay there and I had a guy who was a friend of mine and selling the shop was an electronic shop, which was also a gas refilling shop. But we had so many guys, also we had movies on that shop. So a lot of clients were coming by. And so this guy introduced me and just told me like, would you like to join me somewhere to talk about how to make an extra shilling or something from what you are doing? It's pretty simple. So I joined the guy and the team they were doing. So there's this, actually that's the first time I had anything to do with crypto. So remember that's 2021. I've never heard about anything before, like actually the law. Like I know a lot of
Yeah,
people who've heard about Bitcoin itself, way too earlier than I have, and actually I did not even hear about Bitcoin or crypto itself. I heard about Ethereum, right? Because now I was
yeah,
introduced to Ethereum. That was the very first time actually to make people actually transacting Ethereum itself. And so the idea is a pyramid scheme. Definitely, you have to bring somebody for you to earn. And I did that with a couple of guys, of our friends, definitely. But then some of them could not make money out of that because they don't really have that convincing power of trying to. Even as soon as now it became very difficult continue like talking to people and they can't make money out of that. So it's an ideal. You have to bring someone to make. So technically, you can't make money. There's nothing you can really be productive with that unless you're bringing something
right.
into it. And I think you understand the nature of pyramid scheme. So I kind of felt very bad because I mean I knew at that time we had something much beyond bringing people into into that for us to earn. So you just have to I got to a realization that okay, so if I've transacted my Ethereum for me to even join that pyramid scheme through a network which is outside the banking system, which I've never done before. So something in my mind kind of clicks that there's more to this than what we're being showed here in terms of making money. And
Yeah,
at that time I was 22 years, and so when I went back to school, and then of course COVID came, so we were kind of in that situation where I've not yet graduated. COVID is here. I can't really get something to do physically, so I don't people trying these online things. So, but then I had in mind that there's more to what we can learn through that blockchain itself, because the guy who introduced me to it had a touch on blockchain itself. So I kind of just went into to YouTube, and of course this is where I found this impact theory guy, Tom Billieu, and I saw a couple of interviews with Sailor. Remember at that time I was not a Twitter guy.
Yeah.
So I don't really know how Twitter works. I was
Right.
not that Twitter friendly person. Some people are good with Twitter, someone else is good with Twitter or Instagram or Facebook. And honestly, Twitter was the place you could actually realize Bitcoin for the first time rather than
Yeah.
any other application. And
Yeah.
so many people up to now are really struggling with any other application apart from Twitter in terms of showing proof of work. So you find most of the Bitcoiners are really seeing Twitter work for them. So at that time, I was completely not aware of anything on Twitter. I don't know anyone, so I just found it. If I regard to build and saying some of the interviews he was doing with Sailor, and it was pretty cool. And of course, and for everyone who had Sailor, it really gets you very curious with the way he
Yes.
kind of explains Bitcoin and how it's a revolutionary tool. So I kept on doing that, watched videos, repeating them, and then I kind of then got myself into the Sailor series with Breedlove, Sailor
Nice.
and Breedlove, definitely. So I did a couple of episodes, and man, I mean, that is where it all opened my mind. You remember, I just got introduced to one stamp produce and Ethereum. I did not know about any other coin. And then kind of,
Yeah. Sounds like we've had a very similar trajectory. I was involved in the crypto Web3 world in Colorado, in Denver, in the United States, and met Joe Lubin in person and volunteered at some Ethereum hackathons. And the Sailor series with Breedlove, definitely. It was like 20 hours, right? It was oh, did I lose you? There we go. I can see you now. Yeah, we're back. Yeah, we'll just keep going. Interesting. During the pandemic, out of almost like necessity, you realize like, okay, I can't be going to school, but I need to be learning about something. So that led you to the world of YouTube and Twitter. I can only imagine how many Bitcoiners have been minted out of those two platforms. Yeah. Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. I love it. Wow. Hey Felix, I'm going to hang up on this connection and let's try to reconnect because I'm not seeing video on your side and we'll edit out this little interruption and we'll try to reconnect. Yeah. So you eased into educating people and almost like keeping people safe from the ocean of pyramid schemes, crypto Ponzi schemes, things that are really easy to fall victim to, right? Because if people are trapped in that fiat mindset, they're looking to get rich quick often. It creates this time preference where people um, and it's unfortunate because people don't really realize that at some point there's going to be a victim in these schemes, right? Like someone has to pay the price for counterfeiting money out of thin air, right? So in countries where there's a lot of unbanked people, where there's a lot of financial repression, people who are from the more developed part of the world don't realize that the victims of these crypto scams are people that can least afford to lose everything. So you kind of slowly rose to being a leader in your community. You were like a shepherd, keeping the sheep safe from the wolves.
yeah.
And that kind of led you deeper down the rabbit hole, I imagine, right? Like what exactly makes Bitcoin different from this ocean of scams, I imagine.
Yeah, exactly. So slowly by slowly, I found Bitcoin for everyone. I went through it and completed it, and then So after that, I was wondering, remember I was still struggling with the way I'm supposed to kind of educate people on this
Yeah.
because we were just speaking random topics and doing that. So even before right now, I've seen, you've seen definitely we are in the Bitcoin diploma, like node network or the node network itself. And so I came up with a curriculum before I even met people in the Bitcoin space and started like educating them. So I came up with a curriculum, not a book with notes.
Right.
So the name of the curriculum was Understanding Bitcoin. That was the name, the title of it. It had like 9 chapters, which I borrowed from the white paper. So we were doing all the way from the history of marriage because after going through the Sarah series, I kind of formulated something that could guide us. And I started this, like chapter one was talking about history, then we go to blockchain, then introduction to Bitcoin, Bitcoin wallets. That
Amazing.
I can't remember the some of the chapters. Then the final chapter was ways to scale up Bitcoin adoption rate. And I used that curriculum actually for kind of now because we were doing it's random on maybe any random days. So we are story by story. I figure maybe we can pinpoint 2 days out of 7 days of a week where we could be meeting and talk about this. So remember, like I share the curriculum. Maybe it was just a chapter, a topic, and then subtopics. And the way I was doing it, now after joining you kind of Twitter spaces and all that, I was reaching out to people who have had talk about great things in the Bitcoin space, and I was telling them, hey, so I picked 2 days, that is Thursday and Sundays, where we could do because it was so passionate. We could just pick
Yeah.
any day and we were just using the normal Google Meet, not
Yeah.
the classroom that we are using currently. So I was just reaching out to people so that it could not be boring for the few people who are attending the classes, but mostly it was my brother alone. So I was with my brother under the same roof. So in one room, he's training you as a student, and the other room, I'm the educator. That's how there's no people going, and people could join with you for 20 minutes, and it doesn't seem to sync with them. They're reading, they're dropping from the call. And so I was reaching out to people in the Bitcoin space and telling them, hey, I have a topic to handle, maybe Bitcoin mining, for example, it was one of the topics from the curriculum sort of I formed. And I reach out to them and tell them, okay, how do you do it? I tell them, okay, so this is the top topic, Bitcoin mining. These are the subtopic. Just prepare a few slides and just work something out so that you can present to the students. I was having maybe a number of 5 people joining at that time. So until last year, I'm going through the Twitter space, Twitter itself, scrolling down, I reached out to Arnold. So Arnold, most of them know him
Shout out
from
to Arnold from Mi Primer Bitcoin.
yeah, so I was trying to reach him about the way I was doing everything with the call, trying to understand, just reaching out to people. That's what I do most of the time. I think you've seen in the call, I've invited very great guest speakers. So I just reach
Yeah.
out and Arnold tell me that, okay, we might not be able to help you at this time, but we have a group of people in El Salvador doing something great in terms of curriculum. Would you like to look at it? Now shared my contacts, or rather, Arnold shared others' contact with me and kind of reached out. And there's someone in Kenya pays attention to what I've shared in terms of what Metro Musical is trying to do with independent physical education. So I opted into a call with Adam that time, and he shared the vision of me bringing a Bitcoin somewhere around May last year. And right after it, I told him, okay, let me take time to go through the diploma itself and what you guys are trying to do. So that is what we did. And Adam did a call with me and now, and John, the founder of the Premier Bitcoin. So that's how the connection happened from Arnold just
Love it.
randomly reaching out to him, no, not because we were supposed to speak about something that he traveled to Kenya. We met
Yeah.
I showed him what I was doing with onboarding businesses to accept Bitcoin payments, which I highlight on each later. And then through that kind of interaction, so I went through the diploma itself. I looked at it, and it was a good project. Definitely, we didn't have any curriculum we were using officially. And very far, I signed the MOU, and so we had the first cohort in October last year, and enrolled about
Amazing.
62 students, which we had 16 of them graduate from that cohort. Our second cohort was January to March. We had about 311 enrolling from the
Oh my gosh.
Google Forms.
You went from 16 students to 300?
Yeah, enrolling, not graduating, but those just kind of enrolled because we kind of
Yeah.
make a lot of noise with our social platforms in terms of what we do with the posters and all that. So what I do usually during enrollment, I reach out to every single contact. Or WhatsApp is so heavy here. People use it so much here in Kenya. I think Africa at large. So this is how I just reach out to people I've saved contacts whom we have created in terms of Bitcoin. I tell them, okay, this is the course, please post this together with the registration link. And that is it. So we got that number. 62 of them joined the Google Classroom. Remember,
Amazing.
first, I highlighted to you that you were using the Google Meet, the partial Google Meet, but then after joining the MVP, some of the resources they provide is the classroom itself, which makes it very easy for any educator to use. And it has a lot of features that you want to use as an educator in terms of
Absolutely.
communicating to students at large. So, a good thing, we had 41 students graduating from that cohort school. And now, just recently, I think you've seen we had our third graduation for cohort 3 recently, and we had 46 students graduating from 12 different countries. And that's kind of my whole journey from learning, discovering Bitcoin to being an educator in the Bitcoin space.
Yeah, amazing. Yeah, it's an interesting balance because there's something to be said about classes that are done in person because it's easier to trust someone who's in front of you as opposed to someone who's just on the internet. But also, if you're able to teach online, it makes attendance for the students so much easier. They can cook dinner and then jump on their computer, and the commute is a lot shorter, especially in communities and in countries where the public transportation might not be too reliable, or it's more friction. So being able to utilize Google Classroom and the fact that the Mi Primer Bitcoin curriculum is totally open source. It's translated into Swahili, right?
Yeah,
At
we
least the
have.
previous version, correct?
Yeah, we have a Swahili version. Yeah, although we don't use
Amazing.
it, because our online program is kind of borderless. That's why we had people graduating from India and actually starting their own mission in the Bitcoin space. So that's kind of what I like about. That's the reason actually. I'm one person while living in the Bitcoin space most of the time. I like to follow some of the core properties of Bitcoin, one of it being borderless. And that's why I kind of let the online program be to everyone who wishes that they can join and actually pay attention, because I mean that's how you can discover what's happening in another country, what's and students interacting in that kind of nature. You never know what other students might gain from interacting with somebody else from another country. And the very reason again is building a sense of community out of the education. And so from our online program, have what we call the alumni group of after they graduate, we now have the alumni in a Telegram group. And in future, we are looking at a situation where you can actually do something with the alumni because it's a group of people who've gone through the same platform, have probably met the same teachers. And what's amazing, of course, with them going protest in Kenya, most of the people have seen it on Twitter itself, and you see a lot of students who've gone through our online program reach out to you. Hey, Felix, how's it going? I hear this is happening in Kenya. Hey, are you okay? Are you safe? Maybe they try to reach out with students whom they've interacted before. With whom they have interacted before, and it's an amazing thing to see like someone that has gone through the curriculum,
Absolutely.
and it clicks on them that this is happening in your country. And one of the students from the UK who graduated from cohort 2 was reaching out to me, and she's actually saying, "So what can I do to help?" You realize?
Yes.
So this is the kind of bond you can create, and in case of anything where maybe people need help, through the
Yeah,
community or the bond you've created, it's very easy to achieve something that can be helpful in the Bitcoin space.
absolutely. Yeah, I spoke to Huxley in the UK in our previous episode, and he has actually guest taught for you, correct? He's
Yeah.
helped out a little bit. Amazing.
Yeah. Actually, what I do in every cohort, I don't do it alone anymore. So I reach out to a lot of educators in the Bitcoin space, especially in the node network, making a node network. Since we are starting cohort two, I definitely reach out to some, and I tell them, okay, we need a few educators. We have 10 chapters. Each educator can take 2 chapters. Only one can be taken with two teachers repeatedly. Maybe some of the topics, someone can do half of the pages and the other teacher half of the pages. And Axel was one of them. It is called as well as Hector. And some of the students who've gone through the course, we actually give the opportunity to take on very simple chapters just to help them or boost confidence in case they want to start an education platform or something of that sort, or starting economy.
Absolutely. Yeah. John likes to say that we kind of use the Bitcoin protocol as a guide. You know, it's all about decentralization and almost like giving away, you know, the gift of learning Bitcoin and bringing as many people onto the team as possible, because everybody has different perspectives and different angles in how to teach the protocol to new students. I suppose one of the good things about being in Kenya is that most Kenyans are English speakers, right? So that allows the international community to plug in to your classes, and linguistic issues aren't as much of a barrier. So speaking of bringing in other educators, so the core has spread to Afghanistan and Pakistan, if I'm not mistaken, and then
Yeah.
India as well.
Yeah. Yeah, so actually from the very first cohort, we had a lab. I think now most of the people have seen that
Yes.
Quality lies the education platform introduced by Alab, who was actually a graduate of cohort 1, and the kind of going through the education is inspired him so much that he, before even the course ended, he was trying to find out from me, how can I set up this, what is the live node network, how can I join? So you literally direct them, okay, so this is the live node network for me to get this. If you want to be part of it, to access these resources and actually which will make it easier for you to educate. This is how you do your application. But most often we have as kind of small courses before then, just to give them kind of a guide on how they should get themselves started. And that is from cohort 1. From cohort 2, we now have Africa Bitcoin stories. Maybe you should look at it. I graduated from Nigeria. After graduating, he got so much inspired that he wanted to start almost similar thing by daily education. We had a few calls, and And now he's founded the Africa Bitcoin Stores. It's doing good with a lot of proof of work. They have already applied to become one of the light node in the Bitcoin in the
Amazing.
node network. And now in this cohort, we had Paposh that is being Ford and Val from AD. Yes, Bitcoin AD is already one of the light node network, light node in the
Amazing.
Bitcoin node network. Graduated from this cohort, the third cohort, as well as Aziz and Hossein from Afghanistan. So we've had a couple of calls with Aziz, and he wanted to start something of the same nature, which is Kabul Bitcoin. The name of the
Amazing.
education platform is looking to establish. It's already founded. So those are the people I have the names for, and of course we now have one of the students in Kenya who is already founded Bitcoin Nairobi. That aims to be a circular economy, as well as Bitcoin School Kenya from cohort 3 as well. We are looking on ways to empower these people extremely and provide them the resources that can be there for them to build something in the Bitcoin space. So looking at all those people from different countries and inspired through the online education program, it's so inspirational to see that they can join, actually go through our whole 23-day course, covered over 2 months, 3 days a week, and actually attend almost 60% of the classes, because it's a requirement to graduate, doing all the 3 days, 2 assignments, and the final test. And now reaching to a point, they're so much inspired. They want to know exactly what can I do to start something, and that's so
Amazing.
powerful. You see, I'm doing this
Absolutely.
not because I have anything to say, like so much what I'm doing. Most of the time I
Exactly.
just talk. I talk
Exactly.
into what we can do, and they are so inspired to do something. And we are looking closely into supporting these projects in terms of business guidance on what to do. Sometimes in the Bitcoin space, to actually get your visibility. And yeah, that's kind of those people, the countries are seeing some of the platforms emerge from our online program.
Amazing. Yeah, to quote John again, this is about self-empowerment, right? And all of a sudden we have this torch that we can pass along to people. And I guess this is a good moment to let people know that, as a Bitcoin educator, you don't need to be, a Michael Saylor. You don't need to be able to explain things at that level. We're about getting people off zero, right? We're about people learning about the basics of Bitcoin and leading them to the point where they have the knowledge to decide for themselves if they would like to utilize Bitcoin as their preferred money. You know, I try to tell people here in Argentina, like, I'm not the sage on the stage. Don't look at me. I'm just trying to point you, in the right direction.
Yeah.
I've got resources. Yes, I have the knowledge as well. But ultimately, if you want to adopt Bitcoin, you have to take responsibility for your studying. And if you want to become your own bank, you have to take that step to do your own research and don't trust, verify. There's so many cliches from the Bitcoin world that are so true. Like, we're just trying to move people in the right direction. So Felix, man, okay, so Haiti, Afghanistan, India. I mean, you're you're becoming Nigeria. You're becoming an international sensation. It's truly incredible, and it's ironic, right? Because it's like, it's not about me. It's just about pointing people towards the best money that exists currently. So with that being said, it seems like there's a lot of hunger and thirst for Bitcoin knowledge in Kenya. What are some of the financial hardships, difficulties that your average East African, your average African is running into these days? Why does Kenya, why does East Africa need Bitcoin? What are some of the issues that on a day-to-day basis people run into? Is it a cashless society? Is there still a lot of barter? What does it look like in the financial world for an average Kenyan these days?
Yeah, so if you in some of the major towns, let's talk about Kenya and most definitely Africa at large. But if you're in major towns, sometimes it's very easy, especially in Kenya since the introduction of M-Pesa. I don't know if you're familiar with this mobile money. Mobile money, and it's very easy with M-Pesa because it's almost similar like what Bitcoin is doing, but not in a decentralized format. So when
Exactly.
M-Pesa was introduced, it's easy because they went deeper into villages or where banks can literally not be established, and it's kind of bridged that gap. And now we have a lot of people able to access financial services using M-Pesa. So it's not an issue in terms of accessing financial services in Kenya, but you can imagine in countries around Africa where we don't have M-Pesa or a similar project like so, it becomes very difficult. You remember, most of the banks are established where businesses are found or something of that sort. So financial inclusion is one of the things that we are excited as Africans or average Africans with Bitcoin, that with your mobile or device, you can literally be your own bank. So that is the thing that I just talk in general in terms of financial inclusivity, because most of the Africans, to say they were unbanked or unbanked. So learning about Bitcoin, these are the things, or this is the thing that can be very useful for Africans to say. Also, another thing we say is cross-border transactions. Remember, some of the people who are, some of the families or relatives who are working abroad,
Yeah.
it usually is a big deal when you're doing it
Yeah.
on PayPal, don't know, Western Union, the fees are crazy.
Hmm.
And so by Bitcoin being borderless and commissionless, and as well as cheaper transaction on there too, that's a thing that a lot of people have already adopted. It is looking at the data in terms of remittance globally, it has gone down because some of the people who are already dedicated about Bitcoin, they're no longer doing that on other network, financial network. So they are doing it on Bitcoin. There too. So those remittance thing, it is quite easy nowadays because of Bitcoin itself. However, it's still an issue because of education. So a little bit of those people who are educated about Bitcoin, it's kind of easier for them to realize these benefits. It's the ones who realize these benefits, and that's the reason. And that is, it's kind of very difficult now to talk about Bitcoin as found money, because now that we need most of the people with an economic background, it's easier for them to see when you tell them about the 21 million hard count. Remember, not a lot
Hmm.
of people know or are aware about the challenges they are facing in terms of money being printed. They just know the government is the one at fault, right?
Yeah.
So they might be out introducing leaders with the hope that things can get better. I imagine some of the leaders can make things better if they're responsible, not corrupt, and good governance can a little bit make things better. But remember, some among most of the countries in Africa with 50 plus different currency, and some of the currency being so weak. Now, if you compare that to the dollar, and the biggest thing now is inflation, okay? And in the lives of average citizens in Africa, it's kind of difficult because you purchase things more expensive than you used to, and it continues going up and up and up. Remember, the kind of salaries people receive again does not sustain you. So, but again, you remember this basic economic background or economic background, people don't have it. And I'm not supposed to even know so much about economics were it not for Bitcoin itself. I kind of tend to
Yeah,
go deep into some of these economics topics just because Bitcoin kind of gets you to ask questions about money, and you realize, oh, I
exactly.
need to read about this, I need to read about this. But remember, putting it to average citizens, you don't want to start talking about these things. First of all, they don't know what's the problem itself. So you may want to talk about things like cheaper transactions, borderless, global. Those are the things people will find them attractive, and kind of may solve the instant problems that people really need. Slowly by slowly, now start introducing concepts of this now in relation to sound management has this handicap. Right now, comparing it to any other traditional financial asset, this is where you could actually put your savings and all that. But remember, at the moment, people don't have enough to cater for bills and as well as save, right? So we have to accept that in terms of Bitcoin being adopted in Africa, it's in stages. We have to accept that some of the properties of Bitcoin are the ones that are going to be most useful for the like
Hmm.
it's cheaper transactions when transacting to one person. It's global, for
Yeah,
remittance purposes and cheap as well. So by then, once you educated them about that, and then definitely you can start introducing some of these topics like, okay, now you know this is what happens with the money, what is painted, this is what happens, this is why you're actually paying expensive for bread, and the basic needs compared to 2 years ago or 5 years ago.
yeah,
The reason as to why you need to consider this money is because of this. The first thing, it doesn't really click to them that, okay, this is what's happening. Because remember, this economic thing or financial topic is not a thing for everyone. We first
no,
understand it. Yes, we have to just to take people as they are. Hence, education versus Bitcoin education. However, some of the people don't see as it is. For me,
yeah,
it's the thing, it's the leading indicator for global risk adoption.
yeah. Yeah, it's kind of a interesting problem to solve at first because a lot of people think that if we're going to talk about money, it necessarily implicates that we're going to talk about getting rich, right? And becoming a millionaire and you know, Lambos and blah blah blah. But when we're talking about the history of money, we're framing money as a tool, right? It's simply a way to coordinate with your neighbors and use a neutral medium of exchange. You know, so it's two different properties of Bitcoin that deserve separate classes. You know, store of value, medium of exchange, and being able to breach that topic in a sense that like I don't know about you, but my upbringing was Christian, religious, and I was always taught like the love of money is a very bad thing, you know. So
Yeah.
if you're dedicating time to learning about money, it kind of brings about these feelings of like, oh, this person just wants to get rich or whatever. But it's almost like just learning how to use a hammer. You know, you just have a tool and you need to learn how to use it properly, and you need to learn how to use the best hammer, you know, the best tools around. Before all my meetups here in Argentina, before the classes, I have to declare, you know, we're not selling anything. You know, this is not about becoming a millionaire. This is about simply preserving the value of your hard work, your day's labor, and learning about how to save, promoting the culture of living beneath your means, learning how to save in the right vehicle that will hopefully provide you with more time in the future. But these are interesting topics that Bitcoin educators who are trying to get people off of zero need to learn how to breach. That leads me to so it seems like Kenya is in the middle of a certain awakening of sorts, because from what I can tell, and forgive my ignorance, but it looks like the current government wants to hike taxes substantially on basic goods that everybody needs, and it appears like Kenyans are pushing back against this pretty vehemently, and so it seems like it's a really opportune moment in the history of Kenya and East Africa for people to be made aware of the benefits of separating the money from centralized entities such as the government. For those of, we're going to have an audience from around the world. Can you fill us in on what's going on, and your take on the current state of affairs in the financial system in Kenya?
Yeah, so remember that the way I said previously, the topic of inflation is something people don't yet understand how it affects us as Kenyans or Africa. They know it's a bad thing, but they haven't gone deeper into its concept. Remember, inflation is theft, as most of the Bitcoiners says, but it's a theft
Absolutely.
that goes slow and sometimes painless in a short period of time. You may not even realize that's the thing that's happening, and you can't afford whatever you used to afford 2 years, 3 years ago. It's so slow. It's so hidden. If it's a war, it's so hidden in terms of bringing more money. And with that now being the thing, now with the introduction of the 2024 finance bill was very heavy, and all that kind of bill, to talk about some of the details in later, was a thing that's going to literally cripple the economy instantly. Everyone could realize, so talking about introducing taxes on basic needs like bread, it's very easy for you to buy bread 40 Kenya shillings 4 years ago, and you're buying it 60 Kenya shillings 4 years later. You can fail to realize that maybe, or
So we're
but then
talking
if
about a 50% devaluation within 4 years
no,
of
not
the
really, not
Kenyan
exactly. I've mentioned like if you're buying maybe at 40 shillings, 40 Kenya shillings, maybe 4 years ago. That's to say, and you're buying it 60 Kenya shillings, 4 years later. You understand? It can be
Oh,
something people might take time to realize that, but then think about introducing a bill that's going to get you pay now the bread that you used to buy. Usually this year you're buying it about 60 Kenya shillings, and the same year you're buying it at 100 Kenya shillings. You see,
oh,
that's something people will realize interesting, that because we have some of the people learning about finance in Kenya, and they did some few calculation on some of the things that are going to be high, introducing taxes on ladies sanitary towels. You see that kind of stuff. It's something that people are going to realize instantly, that this is going to affect us. We are not able to afford life at the moment at the moment now. I look at what you're proposing. Now you are introducing this and this and this, and looking at it, we are at a rate of about 11.1 trillion Kenya shillings, and of course about 5.6 is the domestic debt, and about 5 point something is it's a international debt. And now we look at that structure, you have maybe a figure like 2.1 something big from IMF and the World Bank, about 1 point something big from I can't remember, 999 billion from China. And now you realize that some of these policies that are being introduced in this finance bill cannot be because of somebody cannot be drafted with somebody who is understanding the current economic affairs from Kenya. And definitely that is to mean that some of the conditions that the IMF, the World Bank are giving to Kenyans, and I've seen one thing was posted from a media this think it's 2 days ago, and the IMF was saying ignore the protests that are going on, stick to the idea that all the conditions that we gave you. It was posted, I think, 2 days ago. I don't know if I watched posted on that. And looking at those kind of things being introduced to us in terms of paying taxes, the youth don't literally have work, so they most of the time the youth kind of try to find a way of living through internet money, doing something online and getting paid. And that's what they're also coming for. They are introducing taxes on content creators, and this is what most of the youth have done. And if you look at the protests, some of the content creators in Kenya, actually most of them, if not 100%, maybe 95% of them were outside also protesting against that, because introducing taxes on these content creators, we don't have jobs, we can't find jobs in Kenya. Now, how is it possible want to introduce taxes on something literally creative work that I've come up with to ensure that I'm able to pay my bills? And now looking at that bill was also something very nasty being proposed there, that they are going to exempt the Kenya Revenue Authority from the Data Protection Act. So essentially they are able to go through our financial services transaction, especially M-Pesa being the largest to be used in terms of financial services, and they are going to look at that. So it's going to be very easy for the government to even look at what you're buying, what your daily expenditures, and tax on it. 16% value added tax on financial services.
Oh my gosh.
So the bill went through the first reading in Parliament, the second reading, the third reading, then the presidential assent. And at that particular point, due to the pressure from the demonstration, I think most of you have seen that, and the demonstration were happening for the past 2 or 3 weeks, Tuesday and Thursday, it took so much. And my condolences to the families that have lost their kids. We have a net total about 23 now.
23 deaths.
Yeah. So 23, a lot of people, more than 200 have been injured out of this protest thing. Looking at the videos, being one of the people who have been out in the street protesting, I can tell you that they are using a lot of force to restrain the protesters. And out of the result of that, of course, it's of course, some people lose their lives, people are injured. So that's why I came out with a banner for those who looked at my Twitter saying that I propose
Absolute legend, Felix. What did your banner say?
I propose Bitcoin, a peer-to-peer electronic cash system. So I kind of did a checkbox as no central control, which was the first one. Borderless was there. Deflationary was there. I can't remember the first, the fourth thing was that was on the checkbox. And my idea was, okay, now if these are the things we are fighting for, fighting about, and usually this is the way the government responds to people practicing their rights, freedom of expression, and this is the kind of response we are getting. We need to now take a look at this Bitcoin thing in general, because we're talking about separating money and state. So if we are looking at Bitcoin, not just aware of course, this the issue was with taxes, and we understand that Bitcoin as it is, it can't be taxed directly. So the message was not really about maybe avoiding taxes or anything. The idea was, hey, man, even if we win this war, even if the bill is withdrawn from the parliament, the issue of money being controlled with the central authority or the states is going to be a problem for a very long term. So even if we win this war, we've won, I don't know what percentage, but we have a long way to go. Look at what was being proposed in the articles, the KRA, that's the Kenya Revenue Authority, being incentive for data rotation act. So you kind of they are going to surveil on your financial transactions or things that you're doing in terms of finances. So this is something we really need to look at. And the way things were
Absolutely.
going, several abductions happening from people who
Oh,
are maybe have a unit followings and they are kind of, you just hear somebody has been missing maybe for 2 days. So first, what's
oh,
the first thing they do? Probably they have to freeze your account. You can't move. And the second thing, they have to monitor where you've spent the most recent money, or where you bought bread. It's in this location, so you're probably around that area. So what do you do? Bitcoin again comes in as a money that is separate from state. No one technically can or either Bitcoin transactions that relate to your own identity. So these are the topics I was trying to kind of introduce to people. Just yet,
yeah.
people have questions around, okay, is this particular guy who's raised something different apart from rejecting the finance bill? So what is this?
Mhm.
And the result of that was positive because I've seen on the comment section, I've just kind of realized more than 5 or 10 people I didn't know who are not in the whole Bitcoin community kind of, oh, this is the guy, this guy has the right idea, this is the thing. So you kind of, I reach out to them quickly in the comment section. Okay,
Amazing.
yeah, this is the thing that people need to pay attention to. So please join our community. So you've literally reached a few people that you didn't have.
Yeah.
Maybe the people who knew about Bitcoin slightly, and they maybe didn't know what to do with it exactly, maybe because
Yeah.
of they had their few, or they just need to know exactly what Bitcoin can do. Look at my TikTok; it had about 14,000 views carrying that placard, and another one with the 10,000 views. And you get very pretty good comments from Gen Zs in general. This is the good number of people who protested this, were in protests on this financial bill, were the Gen Zs, of course, millennials included, and citizens at large, but the big number was Gen Zs. And you read the comments and you realize as educators, we just need to do up our game a little bit, and that adoption will take off very hard because
Absolutely.
out of all the comments, only few were kind of negative or related to crypto, but most of them were, okay, this is the guy, salute to that guy. I mean, this is a solution,
I love
and
it.
okay, how can I learn more? Do you offer classes? And that was the result of that. Well, in general, the finance bill has been withdrawn, but now the protest, looking at the yesterday protest, kind of um, the people are tired with bad governance in general,
I
right?
love it. Yeah.
Because the first idea of the bill passing from the very first stage, while people are protesting until almost the final stage, and until then it's when it's being withdrawn, lives have already been lost. You didn't have
Oh.
to wait that long, right? We
Hmm.
just had like, okay, we've seen this thing is sensitive to the public. Why didn't we look at it? And you
Exactly.
see, it would have been the reaction would have been different. We could have saved the lives of people, insisting on passing on the bill at the expense of people's lives, right? So that's kind of the situation. In the process, kind of my landlord had I've been in the house since last week, Thursday, but it wasn't that. So kind of twisting a little bit. I'm doing some exercise in the house while working on it, applying. I don't know how to use this name. Yeah, applying.
Hmm.
I don't know name, but working on
Physical
it, trying
therapy.
Yeah,
Hmm.
physical therapy, and it's getting better. So probably by next week, will be good. But
Oh
I'm also can
man.
tell you that whatever happened or the thing that I came up with, I was with the ladies from Bitcoin that and also a few Bitcoiners in the Bitcoin space who are around, and
Yeah.
that was the impact that we really wanted to get, or the thing that we
Yeah.
wanted to get people to learn.
Yeah. Man, good for you for because I imagine being out there in the middle of the protests, you must have felt like your adrenaline was pumping and anything could happen, right? Because the police are armed. They don't necessarily make the best decisions. Anything could have happened at any minute, but good for you for pushing through some of that, the fear and anxiousness. And Kenya had its buy Bitcoin sign moment. Thanks to you. You're a Kenyan Bitcoiner legend now. Um,
Yeah.
but it's with that being said, it's a really opportune time in the history of Kenya for Bitcoin to make some huge advancements. I would encourage anybody watching this and listening to this podcast to get in touch with Felix. They have a geyser fund running. You can send them sats, and it's a really opportune time for Bitcoin to take a huge leap forward as the Kenyan people are awakening to censorship and financial repression and the downfalls of central planning in general. So yeah, just wanted to plug that there, and we'll have the links below in this video. With that being said, there's one tool that I'd like to highlight. I'm not sure if you are using it too much, or rather, I'd like to reframe the question. What are some of your favorite tools to point people towards in their first steps in their Bitcoin journey? What are some of the easiest tools people are finding useful to use and spend their first sats?
Yeah, of course, the popular wallets that maybe you're referring to the wallets because
Hmm.
yeah, so that's of course in Africa, Machankura is very popular. I don't know if you're familiar with it. Yeah,
It's
you're
like
able
the
to.
Bitcoin version of M-Pesa, right?
Yeah,
You can
so
use it
ideally
on.
you don't need on a feature phone. You don't need internet to spend Bitcoin here in Africa, right? So you can use USSD to do it. That is a big plus for Africa for inclusivity. So for those who are from Machankura, look at it. Blink is also quite popular in Africa, regional as well, because now the off-ramp process it's all catered with Bitcoin. Also buying Bitcoin is quite easy with Bitnob. So these are the things that you can look at in terms of self-custody. Of course, now Graphene is there. Upload it's something else to use most of the time. And Trezor for hardware wallet,
Mm,
it's also cool. Yeah, so those are the first things that you can do. Also, I forgot to point out, I'm also running 100 business underscore KE challenge. This is to
mm.
target to 100 businesses to observe digital payments. I've done 14 at the moment, and they are all in BTC Maps. So, also in Kenya, and probably watch this. They can take a look at that, where to spend their it starts. We also have something very unique coming out known as Tango. I don't know if you're familiar with it. So this
I'm
is
I'm not familiar actually.
yeah, Dano is a project by one of the ladies from B2C Dada, and this is aims to help people spend sats every year as long as someone is their businesses are accepting pesa. Literally, everyone can spend Bitcoin without even telling that whoever is the merchant that you're actually paying with Bitcoin. This is
Wow,
powerful.
amazing.
Uh,
Yeah.
because really don't have to go into those applications. Okay, I'm going to pay with Bitcoin, you receive that. So, for as long as anywhere in Kenya someone is able to be paying with M-Pesa, with Tando, you can spend your sats with and not having to tell the merchant that you're actually paying in Pesa. This is going to be a huge, very huge, especially with the Africa Bitcoin conference coming here in Africa in December, which I also recommend people to look at it, buy tickets, come for the conference, and you will definitely find places to spend sats.
Amazing. Yeah, for those unfamiliar with the BTC Maps project, if you're a Bitcoin and you're a business owner, you can upload your information to btcmaps.org so that Bitcoiners who want to support local circular economies and simply just use Bitcoin as the best tool, you can upload your information, and it's kind of like a Google Maps for Bitcoiners. And every passing day, it grows in popularity. Also, if you are running a Mi Primer Bitcoin node or a Bitcoin community of sorts, you can also upload your information to btcmaps.org so that you gain visibility. And it's simply an open source way for people to connect with other Bitcoiners. Well, Felix, we are coming up on the hour mark here. Is there anything else you'd like to add? I'll make sure to have all your information in the links for the video. I encourage everybody to reach out and support Felix. Yeah, is there anything else you'd like to add? Anywhere you want to send people towards?
Yeah. So ideally, just kind of a general comment is the way I like to put it is you don't need a lot of knowledge to start to tell people about Bitcoin. Whatever you have, I think, and you feel it's going to impact somebody or something, talk to people about it. And that's why I've been doing all along. I wouldn't say I know a lot of information or everything about Bitcoin, but the very basics that I know are being successful in impacting a few projects that are already ongoing. And sure, you can check out what I do with printing and branding for Bitcoin projects in Kenya, especially those who come into Africa. And please, you look at the hoodie. I did that. The t-shirts, the caps.
Amazing drip. Love it.
Yeah. So if you want that service or you're looking for such services here in Kenya, you can also reach out to me. Yeah, that's pretty good. Of the thing I wanted to add on that, ideally people continue to study Bitcoin, get as much information as possible. Yeah, empower someone, and that's how we base ourselves into the hyper Bitcoinization.
Love it. I love it. Well, I hope after listening to this, those around the world are feeling more bullish than ever after listening to Felix's story. And Felix, if you don't mind, I would love to do this again sooner than later, and we can check in on how things are going for you in Kenya, and would love to keep this going.
Sure. Anytime you're ready for this, just hit me up.
Absolutely. Brilliant. Okay, thanks everyone for tuning in, and we'll see you next time on the Bitcoin